What will you find in Just My Type? Chapter 1 introduces Psyche-Type by explaining what it is, the difference between type and trait, basic assumptions of Psyche-Type theory, and some exercises to help explain the concept of preference. In Chapter 2, you'll learn about the popular Psyche-Type indicators, applications of Psyche-Type, and how to use indicators more effectively by better understanding the underlying theory. Chapter 3 looks at the history of Psyche-Type theory, where it came from, and notable contributors to its development. This includes Carl Jung, Catherine Briggs, Isabel Briggs-Myers, and David Kiersey. In Chapter 4, we give you an overview of how Psyche-Type theory fits in Carl Jung's model of the psyche. Here you'll learn a bit about persona and other factors that affect indicator results. In Chapter 5, we launch into the science of the psyche, beginning with extroversion and introversion. Surprisingly, E's and I's handle situations very differently, from the way they engage with the outside world to how they relate to others and how they perceive each other. You will also learn communication cues you can use to detect the EI preference and some celebrity examples. At the end of the chapter is a video clip demonstrating the EI preference in action and an exercise to assist you to discover whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. Chapter 6 is all about the perception dichotomy, sensing and intuition. Understanding sensing and intuition is critical in understanding how people learn, whether they prefer to have the big picture before the detail or the detail before the big picture. We discuss how sensors and intuitors approach creativity and problem solving, some communication cues to look for in each, with a clip and an exercise to help you experience the SN dichotomy. In Chapter 7, you'll learn about judgment. We all make judgments, but our Psyche-Type determines where and how we use them. Chapter 7 clears up misconceptions about thinking and feeling, discussing how thinkers and feelers prefer to make decisions, how T's and F's handle emotions, and communication cues. An entertaining video clip demonstrates the frustrations of thinkers and feelers, and an exercise will help you work out your own preference. In Chapter 8, you'll learn about the J or P at the end of your Psyche-Type code, which determines whether you prefer to remain open to all possibilities or to achieve goals by committing to a plan. In this chapter, you'll learn about how J's and P's approach time, decision-making, planning, and lifestyle. There's a clip showing J and P in action and an exercise to help you work out your own preference. By the end of Chapter 8, you will have a clear understanding of the 4 Jungian dichotomies, and you will have selected the 4 letters that you feel best describe you. Now you're ready to crack the Psyche-Type code and find out what those letters actually mean in terms of the functions in your psyche. Chapter 9 explores what are known as the functions in attitude. Why are these important? Because the letters in your Psyche-Type code are only half the picture. You may prefer sensing, but did you know there are 2 kinds of sensing? Introverted and extroverted? And to know which one you use, you need to understand the functions in attitude. Our 4 conscious functions, those we prefer, develop gradually over time, and the position of each of these in the psyche determines how we use them. This is the basis of archetypes and communication theory, the study of how our psyche interacts with others. To understand how we relate to each other, we have to understand the difference between introverted and extroverted functions and how each operates. Chapter 10 through Chapter 13 are all about the 8 Jungian mental functions. That is, the extroverted and introverted forms of sensing, intuition, thinking, and feeling. When you have finished these chapters, you'll have a clear understanding of each of these functions, and by watching the clips and doing the exercises, you'll actually feel them for yourself. You'll find that the exercises associated with the functions that are highest in your own psyche will be effortless, whilst those involving your unconscious functions will be more confronting. All of this is designed to take Psyche-Type from an abstract concept to an applied skill, and to equip you with the core knowledge upon which to begin understanding the complex dynamics of how the different functions of different people interact. Chapter 14 traces humanity's interest in personality back through the ages and shows how Psyche-Type relates to and explains its various predecessors. Based on the work of modern-day temperament theorists such as Kiersey and Behrens, we look at the commonalities in the core needs of guardians, artisans, rationals, and idealists. This is another key cornerstone in understanding the dynamics of communication, because the temperament groups help to explain why we gravitate towards certain people, particularly our friendship groups. In Appendix 1, you'll find a step-by-step guide to cracking the Psyche-Type code, including an animated guide for every type, including your own. In Appendix 2, we showcase the full Psyche-Type of all the characters from the clips used in our course. So if you want to go back and look at the films in detail, you'll be able to gather lots more information. Whether your interest in Psyche-Type is professional or personal, you'll find Just My Type informative, practical, enjoyable, and a great resource to draw upon as you start to practice the art of understanding people in your own life.